Shalom. Call Haloyamla, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Brachak Kodash. Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Yahweh Barakta Brachak Kodash, Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Brachak Kodash. Shalom and double honors unto the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elders in the Akim and the Aquat of the hopeful elect. Shalom. I just want to go into a quick video entitled "The Rite of Passage to Heaven is Suffering." When we wake into the truth, then the mandatory path that we have to take, is going to be a fiery trial that's going to try our faith and our our strength. So when we read the meaning of the phrase "rite of passage," it says, "A ceremony or event marking an important stage in someone's life, especially birth, puberty, marriage, and death." So the first part here says a ceremony or event. So what event? When we awaken to the truth, that moment we awaken to the truth and hear about it, and that's the main event. That's the greatest event. The most important event of our lives, coming into the truth, because either we're going to go ahead and choose that right path, which is the rocky path towards the kingdom of heaven of the suffering, or we're going to choose the left path, the smooth path, which leads to a cliff burning with fire and brimstone, the lake of fire. So, because right now, up until this point, until that most important event of awakening to the truth, we've been doing what? Satisfying the flesh, because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and all they push is fulfilling the flesh. Do as thou wilt, which is philosophy of Satan and the so-called Christianity church, right? So that important stage, that key event, and then also that birth. So we'll go ahead real quick, go to Revelation 11:11. "And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai entered into them, and they stood up upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them." And who is that them? The heathen. And who is the them that the spirit of life from Yahweh entered into? That's the hopeful elect. That's the elect ultimately. But the hopeful elect, many are called, but few are chosen. But so that after 3 days and a half, that goes into from 1619 of slavery here in Babylon the Great America. And the 3 days and a half is a span of 350 years. Each day represents 100 years, and that half a day represents 50 years. So 350 years. So around 1969, from 1619. So plus 350 is 1969. And so around that time is when the truth, came back into the earth. You're starting out over there, and I believe it's over there in Harlem, 1 West 125th Street, is where the truth began coming back out and flourishing in the full truth and growing more and more. And so that's where it began. We began awakening back to our true identity, and then all of the heathen that surround us and are destroying us see it, and now they are in great fear, and they're coming up against it and blaspheming the Most High and Yahushua, and slandering the prophets and the teachers and those that are awakening to the truth of the hopeful elect. And that's that key event right there, of us awakening at our appointed times, that the Most High have the hopeful elect awakening. So John 6:63. "It is the spirit that quickeneth." That's the spirit from Yahweh, through Yahushua, blessing us to receive the Holy Spirit. "The flesh profited nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life." So that's that key event that begins the rite of passage to the kingdom of heaven, if you can endure that rocky road. So, and then it spoke about that birth, that key event. And that goes hand in hand with this as well, because that's the birth that you must, become a new man. So here in John 3 and 5, Yahushua answered, "Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Yahweh." So you must be born again. That's that key event too. That rite of passage event that begins that fiery trial down the straight and narrow road, to the kingdom of heaven. So suffering is mandatory if we are to be worthy of the kingdom of heaven. So don't fret, don't stress. Just have to weather the storm, and stay in the spirit. And you can overcome the fleshly things when you stay in the spirit of the Most High Power Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua. So getting those right here, it says in verse 5, it says the water and the spirit. So we'll go to John 4 and 14. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. So that's that water. That's that key event, that rite of passage. And then be born again with the water and the spirit. And Yahushua is going to give us that water. Believing upon him, and he's going to give you that water to drink. And that's the spiritual waters of the commandments and the true proper doctrine. And the spirit is from the Almighty Power Yahweh, so it's a combination effect, right? The Holy Spirit from the Almighty, and the water. Yahushua is watering you, watering in the garden the Most High created of the Israelites. And Yahushua, he's keeping that garden, and he's going to water the elect. And the Most High sends the Spirit to allow them to understand the water that the Messiah is giving them, the true proper doctrine, so that they can grow thereby. And then so John 15 and 26. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me. So that's what's going on. The Messiah, he has the water to give, and the Most High will send his Spirit into those of the hopeful elect. Of the elect. Ultimately the elect, but there's many people that are going to awaken to the truth, but not all will be chosen. And then they will be watered by Yahushua through the Spirit the Most High sends, for you to be able to receive and grow through the Spirit, and receive at the end of that growth process, you receive the woman, the spiritual woman, which is wisdom. That's your possession. Then you'll be able to have the wisdom, because that'll be your stability in the times to come, and Jacob's trouble in these last days. Isaiah 33 and 6. John 3 and 3. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua of Yahweh. So you have to be born again. You have to become a new babe, that spiritual babe, not a physical babe, but spiritual babe. And that's that key event for that rite of passage, that birth, that spiritual birth. Ephesians 4 and 22. That ye put off concerning the former conversation of the old man. The old man is what's known as, a nigga in that culture that everyone speak about doing it for the culture. That culture that's the old man, that's the wicked man. And you put off that conversation, because that old man, because the nigga spirit was created in extreme poverty, extreme oppression, and extreme wickedness. Because we got discontinued from our heritage, and this was the spirit that was birthed from extreme oppression here in Babylon the Great under Esau Edom, the so-called white man. So you put off that conversation, because all the conversation of the old man is influenced in wickedness, because they all aspire, because the false prophet, the false musical prophets of Satan, they put it in the music, and then life imitates art, meaning the art of the false musicians. They put the music out, and then in this life, men implement the things they hear through music, television, and video games and everything, right? And that's the old man, and all that combines, the old makes up the old man, nothing but filth and garbage, and then the conversation is filthy as well. So you put off the old man, which is that nigga spirit. So it says that you put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, because men are very covetous in this world, and they covet men's possessions, they women, and everything, right? And that's adultery and whoremongering. And verse 23, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. So that's that spiritual babe, mental spiritual babe. And verse 24, and that you put on the new man, and that's the spirit, the spiritual man, keeping the commandments and having the meditation of the commandments on his mind, and having the faith in Yahweh and Yahweh Shah, and letting our conversations be in heaven and not in the world, not in the nigga culture, which after Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, is created in righteousness and true holiness. So right now you're in, those in the world, before we awaken to the truth, we were in false wickedness, but now the spiritual man, meditating and delighting in the commandments, is now in righteousness and true holiness, and having the faith in the Messiah, the Almighty and the Messiah, want to keep everything in proper order in the context. So Isaiah 52 and verse 1. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Zion that's the Israelites, the mount of the Israelites. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. So that's the 2/3 that would be cut off in the kingdom of heaven. That will get beamed up, and then they'll come back through the loins of the 1/3, and then also the heathen, which is uncircumcised and unclean as well, but they will be our servants. So that's going to be the kingdom of heaven to come, and that's our reward. Those that will be chosen of the elect. It will be no more, because back in the old days, during the time of Lot, before Sodom and Gomorrah got burnt down with fire and brimstone from the Most High, Lot, that got saved from Sodom and Gomorrah, he was vexed with the wicked and filthy conversation of the wicked and the homosexuals there in Sodom and Gomorrah. And then today, that's the same thing that's going on today. The hopeful elect, the elect men and women, they're vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked today, which is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, but Babylon the Great here in America today. From there we'll go to Colossians 3 and 12. It says, put on therefore as the elect of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So that's why we're of the hopeful elect, because we're putting on as we are the elect, but we're hoping that we're chosen at the end, because we dare not make ourselves a part of the number of the elect. So we're putting on, meaning we're rehearsing the righteous acts, doing our best, and having the faith in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering, and that goes into the suffering. You have to be suffering the whole time while putting on as elect members and putting on your best behavior, putting your best foot forward. Keeping the commandments to the best of your abilities, repenting, praying for forgiveness, and having a faith in Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. Let's see. From there we'll go to Romans chapter 8 and verse 7. because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. That's that old carnal man, that old fleshly wicked spirit. For it is not subject to the law of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh. So if you're not rehearsing the righteous acts of the commandments and having the faith in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, you cannot please the Most High, and you're in the flesh because you're not in the spirit of the Most High, in the name of Yahweh Shai. Verse 9, but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwell in you. Now if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, that means anointed, he is none of his. So if you're in the flesh, you're not of the Most High, you're of Satan, and you're delivered up into Satan, and Satan has you, and you'll be destroyed, when the Messiah returns. So dwell in the spirit, where it's the wisdom, in the name of Yahweh Shah. Verse 10, it says, and if Hamashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness. So what is righteousness? It's of the law, Romans 10:5. So the spirit, when you're keeping the commandments, the spirit of life, your spirit is living. But if you don't have the commandments, your spirit is dead. It's dormant because you're not keeping the commandments to the best of your ability and not having the faith. Because nowadays, though, faith is if I can say it right, faith is first and foremost. It's at the forefront. And then you supplement it with rehearsing the righteous acts and doing your best, right? In the name of Yahweh Shah. So 1 Peter 5:10. But the power of all grace, who hath called us into his eternal glory by Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. So, so that the grace from the Most High, through Yahweh Shai's blood, blessing us to be able to receive the grace, to be able to get ourselves together and clean ourselves up. And while we're cleaning ourselves up, that means you're suffering for a while, for a season, and not permanently, right? But this is just a temporary suffering that we must endure to clean ourselves up, to be accepted and be worthy to be acceptable to the Most High through Yahweh Shah. So Psalms 34:19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, delivereth him out of them all. So it's just mandatory. Affliction and suffering, it goes hand in hand when trying to make it to the kingdom of heaven. If you slip, just keep getting back up, because the scriptures say, a righteous man falleth 7 times and get back up again. So you outlast, you suffer, you weather the storm, right? When that storm come to beat upon that house, if you're on that sure foundation, you won't get swept away. You're going to outlast it, meaning you're going to get up. You fall forward, keep getting up, fall forward, keep getting up, and you'll make it to the kingdom of heaven through the mercy of the Most High, through Yahweh Shai blessing you to receive that mercy. And then we'll go to the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, and verse 1 right here. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, prepare thy soul for temptation. So that goes right there, hand in hand. When you come to serve the Most High, immediately you will be met with resistance from Satan, devils, and demons in that flesh, and that old wicked carnal man, and that temptation to want to continue to please that flesh. But you have to reject that flesh now. In verse 5, for gold is tried in the fire, and that's that temptation. It's going to be that fiery trial. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So we're in that furnace, we're in that iron furnace right now here in Babylon the Great. It's not just Babylon, it's Babylon the Great, because it's the glory, because Esau Edom is the glory of kingdoms, because he put all the worst of the old ancient kingdom, old wicked heathen Gentile kingdoms. He took the very worst that he loves, the greatest wickedness from the other kingdoms, and put it in what? The quote unquote melting pot, and created Babylon the Great, the glory of all kingdoms and pure wickedness. All heathen philosophies and religions are here. And Jake can go off. Jake, aka Jacob, aka the law, Israelites. And that's why our people are so destroyed, and all manner of false doctrines tossed to and fro, and they're bugged out their minds, because Babylon the Great is great confusion and great melting pot of wicked religions all meshed together. That's why people don't know whether they're coming or going, don't know, right from left, up from down. So once you overcome that fire, you'll be, pure gold. Thus saith the Lord. So Romans chapter 5 and verse 3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also. So not only we have to suffer, we're suffering, we're glorying in that suffering, because we have the bigger picture, the future in mind, which is the kingdom of heaven for eternity. Knowing that tribulation worketh patience. So that's trying your patience. Your patience and spiritual patience is going to increase and get better and better, because in the flesh, everybody's impatient and rage filled, right? But when you're going through that tribulation, you glory in it, and you become a true man, spiritual man that has patience. And verse 4, and patience experience. So you gain through, when you suffer, you weather that storm, you grow in patience, and then you gain experience. You're enduring hardness as a good soldier. And true warriors and true soldiers have much experience and are very temperate and experience hope. And then now you have a body of work, and now you have hope that you can be a part of the elect. Verse 5. And hope maketh not ashamed. And now you're not ashamed. It's like, you're going through hell, caught hell, and going to continue to catch hell until Yahweh shall return. You're not ashamed of it, because you become a fool for Yahweh shall's sake, for the name of Yahweh Shah, because people are going to hate you, come up against you, and slander you and disrespect you, but you take it in stride and not worry about it, because you're spiritual, and you know the end of you, if you're a part of the elect, and you know the end of the wicked, for blaspheming the Most High Yahweh Shah. And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, is shed abroad in our hearts, that goes into your minds by the Holy Spirit, which is given unto us. We're not ashamed, because now we know we're in the spirit, and we know the spirit is far greater than the flesh. So we know that these fleshly things is of peasants, and it's not in a prideful way, but they try to tear down that which is, this society mocks and tears down people that try to be righteous. It's always a negative connotation when you tell someone that you don't eat pork or you don't do certain things that's wicked in the society, and they get upset and angry with you, and they try to slander you, right? Because they hate righteousness. But if you say something foolish, they'll eat that up, right? The greatest people are the greatest people in this society are pretty, simple and wicked, and those are the ones that are the richest people, like a Kevin Hart, Dwayne, quote unquote, The Rock Johnson, and it's pure. They stay on foolishness, and everyone, enjoys it and love it, because birds of the same feather flock together. So from there we'll go to James chapter 1 and verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. So you suffering, and not only are we going to glory in that suffering, and we count it joy. It takes a different kind of person, to have that kind of mindset. So that's why it's supernatural from the Most High to be able to do that through Yahweh Shah. It says, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. Verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. And there you go again. It's all about patience, spiritual patience, and working and weathering that storm. Let patience have her perfect work. So let it let it manifest within you through a period of time, that you may be perfect and entire, meaning whole, wanting nothing. So spiritually, you won't want anything, because the Most High will provide for you and bless you. Now you've become approved by the Most High and accepted by the Most High through Yahweh Shah, and then boom, you'll be you'll be thriving now spiritually. What's lucky? So yeah, that's it for that. Going to now to Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, and that's the end result. Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. So, if you know those that are familiar with King Solomon reign, he had ships go and pick up the choicest gold and treasures. He was paid tribute by the other heathen Gentile nations because he was reigning over the heathen at that point. But it was nothing but peace, because that's why the heathen are blessed through the seed of the Israelites, through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob seed, because when we rule righteously, right? And so he picked up the best, absolute best, the best quality gold on earth is from Ophir. That was the highest quality gold. And so the Most High say, when we allow our faith and patience to work and to grow and to suffer and long suffer this fiery trial, right? At the end of it, a man would be more valuable, more precious than the greatest gold on earth. A man of the Lord in the spirit, in the name of Yahweh Shai, will be more precious than the best quality gold that earth has, that you can find, right? So it's a very beautiful end result. Because if you notice, like, if anyone familiar with the how you blast clay after you put this product, you craft a vessel, a mud vessel, right? And then I forget what it's called, but you layer it with some kind of substance, and then when you put it in the furnace, they blast it with fire, and then it's becomes ceramic and shiny and very beautiful. So we're clay vessels, and then that fire, and then the spirit work within us. That's that layer of the spirit on us, and that fire from the world, we endure it, and then we'll become very shiny. And then it says, when the Most High, wisdom from the Most High, maketh a man face to shine, and that goes into that shining of that clay vessel that we're in right now. Because brothers in the truth, and women as well, get looks from people, because you have the wisdom, and you have the shining and light and favor from the Most High, and Yahweh Shai make you shine, and you makes you look different, and people stop and stare at you. They know it's something different within you, especially when you talk to them as well. They know it's something totally different with you, because that's the end results of enduring and fighting and suffering. Second Ezra 9 and 22. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain. So the Most High let you know, most people on earth are created in vain. So count yourself blessed if you're part of the elect at the end, to be called into this beautiful truth, which was born in vain. And let my grape be kept, and that goes into the elect. And my plant, that's Yahweh Shai. For with great labor have I made it perfect. So the Most High has labored to make us perfect, and we must allow the Most High to work that perfect work of the trials and tribulations to build us up in certain areas that we are deficient, especially in patience, and letting go of those emotions from the flesh that make you go off, and not be so quick to anger, but long suffering and slow to making any kind of decisions, because emotional decisions are the worst decisions. And as you grow more and more, those fleshly decisions and emotions affects you less and less, until that end result of that, greater than, more precious than fine gold. through that experience. That's why it's all about the experience and suffering, right? And it all culminates into a very unmovable man of the Lord, man or woman of the Lord. So, but chiefly the men is who the Most High is dealing with. That's why a woman must find a man of the Lord to get underneath, to be able to have that covering. But as First or Second Corinthians speaks about in chapter 7, even a man, a believing woman will her husband that's unbelieving will be saved through her. So either way, the Most High will have the man, women covered. But if possible, women should have a man of the Lord, to have that covering. So from there, Romans 8:18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory, excuse me, with the glory which shall be revealed in us. So the glory from the Most High is not to be compared to the little. We might think that we may really think we're going through something real tough, but it really isn't nothing compared to the glory the Most High is going to reveal in the elect. Lord willing, we're of that number. So just fight and endure, and the Most High, you're gonna forget all about these troubles that we've been going through. Hebrews 11 and 24. Excuse me. It says, by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused. When he grew up to become a man, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Why? It's because he has that spirit. It's just a spirit within us. We know it's something different. We know that we're not of these people, right? Those of the hopeful elect. Verse 25. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Because Moses had wisdom. He knew something was off, and he knew his spirit wasn't the same as those Hamites, so-called Africans, so-called Egyptians, because we're not the same race. And he chose to suffer with his people than to enjoy the pleasures of sin from the heathen for a season, because he was in the palace. He was raised up in the palace of Pharaoh. He had the very best of everything, very best water, very best flour, carbs, protein, meats, and vegetables, and fruits. But he rejected all of that to suffer and to go down that rocky road and suffer with his brethren. And that's a very righteous thing. So Ecclesiastes, because the little riches and the little shining that the heathen have right now, chiefly Esau, Edom, the white man, so-called white man, right? His riches is it might look good, but it's nothing compared to what the Most High has. So you suffer, reject these low-level treats and gifts to be able to enjoy the infinite, incomparable blessings to come. Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. These heathen nations, these heathen kingdoms, that's what's ending. So be hoping that these kingdoms end, because each kingdom that end and fall is that much closer to the kingdom of heaven. And this is the very last one, Babylon the Great, the greatest wicked heathen kingdom of all time. And this is when it ends, then the perpetual infinite kingdom of heaven to come is going to do away with all this wickedness and madness that we've been suffering under. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. So that's that experience and that patience that grew, rejecting the society, and the proud in spirit. We know who's the chiefest, the top proud is the so-called white man. So from there we'll go to Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 19. Better it is to be of an humble spirit with the lowly, like Moses chose to be with his lowly people, the Israelites. He was humble. He humbled himself and rejected the riches of Pharaoh, than to divide the spoil with the proud. And that goes into Pharaoh and the modern day pharaohs and modern day Babylonians, the so-called white race, America, right? So it's better to be of a humble spirit and be suffering and being patient with your own and with the hopeful elect than to be enjoying this temporary, enjoyment of temporary riches and gifts. Galatians chapter 6 and 15. For in Hamashiach Yahushai neither circumcision availeth anything, meaning when you keep the commandments, that circumcises your spirit, right? And even that availeth anything, because why? Our righteousness is of the law. When you keep the law, our righteousness is as a filthy rag. So that's why being circumcised, keeping the commandments, availeth any, that it doesn't avail anything. Nor uncircumcision, but a new creature. So, nor uncircumcision, and that's being when you don't keep the commandments. So keeping the commandments nor keeping the commandments, that doesn't avail anything. But a new creature, meaning what? The new proper doctrine, the blood of Yahushua washes over you and that avails you, right? That's what avails. And that's what uplifts you and bless you to be able to be blessed with salvation, because now, like I said earlier, it's all about faith first and foremost. Not keeping the law. But as the scriptures say, in the New Testament, for Christianity, people that say the law done away with, we still establish the law. We rehearse the righteous acts of the commandments. But the faith is what avails. It's just like your diet. And then you may not get everything in your diet, so you get supplements secondary to your diet to supplement what you're missing. So your faith is your primary diet, and then keeping the commandments is the supplement to aid that and to show the Most High, your faith. Through your faith, your works of keeping the commandments to the best of your ability. Over here in Babylon the Great, in captivity, right? So going next to 1 Peter 4 and verse 12. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you. So don't marvel at it. Don't think it's odd. It's mandatory. Like I said, that's the title of the video. That's a rite of passage. Suffering is the rite of passage. So it's not nothing strange about a rite of passage. It's a mandatory thing. Beloved, and the beloved are the elect of Israel, the 1/3 of Israel. Think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you. So to Christianity, that says that it's for everybody now, for all heathen nations as well. What heathen nation is going through a fiery trial right now? Only the hopeful elect of the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, the true Israelites, the true lost 12 tribes of Israel are going to go through that fiery trial. No heathen is going through no fiery trial right now. They're trying to get the money. They're wearing 3-piece suits trying to get money with the so-called white man. So that's a lie. They need to cut out those lies. And that's blasphemy, profanity, and is an abomination. From the top again, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. It's nothing that don't think it's something that just randomly happened unto you and you marveling at it. It's because when you come to serve the Most High, that's mandatory. But rejoice. So it takes a different kind of mindset to rejoice in suffering and in affliction. But rejoice in as much as ye are partakers of Hamashiach's sufferings. Because the Messiah did it, and so we must as well. The body follows the head. The servant is not greater than the master, so we must do these things as well. We must go through that fire as well. And Yahushua's suffering was far greater than anything that we could have went through. He was without blemish. And we have blemishes all over us, right? That's why keeping the law now, it don't avail anything for us because we believe upon the Messiah, and that's our availing, our faith in Yahweh Shah, from Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. That when his glory shall be revealed, when Yahweh Shah returns, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. It's not just joy, but exceeding joy. Joy beyond, any joy on this earth. Because then you will have been selected and know that you are a part of the elect to be with Yahweh Shah, our bridegroom, right? When we get beamed up and ever be in the skies for eternity with the Messiah, getting translated to the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven, that's a very beautiful story. The greatest story ever. Let's see. Verse 14. If ye be reproached for the name of Hamashiach, happy are ye. So another layer of that different mindset, being happy to be reproached for, you'll be happy to be disrespected, insulted, and call every evil thing for the name of Yahweh Shah. For the spirit of glory and of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai rested upon you. On their part, he is evil spoken of. So the wicked that will come up against you, they speak evil of Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. But on your part, he is glorified. So the elect will be glorified by the So the elect, they glorify the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. But the wicked, they slander, blaspheme, profane the Most High, Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. So the spirit of the Most High don't rest upon the wicked in 2/3, but upon the elect. Verse 15. But let none of you suffer as a murderer. So if you hate your brother in your heart, you're a murderer. If you slander your brother, disrespect your brother, insult your brother, you're a murderer, and you're a blasphemer and profane person towards the Most High towards the Most High power and Yahweh Shah, right? And you're an abomination, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. That's what the Pharisees was always on. They were always busybodies trying to trip up and ask the Messiah, Yahweh Shah, hard questions so that they can try to find occasion to accuse him. Same way with men today, try to do the same to the hopeful elect. They try to find they're busybodies in the matters of the hopeful elect, trying to condemn them instead of trying to focus on their own steps, looking around at the hopeful elect steps, trying to trip them up, trying to place obstacles and trip them while they're walking, right? Instead of worrying about their desert path that's in front of them. It's madness. Verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed. So the true Christians are those that follow Yahweh Shah, not the Christianity and wickedness today. Let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai on this behalf. So we're glorifying the Most High, and we glorifying the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. That's our only duty. That's our only objective, and that's the only reason why we're alive and created, to glorify the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. Acts 5:41. And those that don't, they were made in vain to follow after Satan and to be destroyed when the Messiah returns. Acts 5:41. And they departed from the presence of the council. That's where the wicked Pharisees and Sadducees that were set up by the Romans, who were the Edomites, the so-called white race today. The same ones they attacked the Messiah, and then after the Messiah was resurrected and ascended back to sit on the right-hand side of Yahweh, now they're going after the body of Yahweh Shah, which were the apostles and disciples, and that's after Yahweh Shah left. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. So it's a different kind of man that rejoice at after being criticized and berated by the wicked elites of this earth. And so that's a whole different mindset. So Matthew chapter 5 and verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness. As King David said, his soul longeth for the glory in the temple of the Most High. And that's the same way that the hopeful elect, that's the house of David. The elect want their body of Yahushua. We hunger and we thirst for righteousness, the pure waters, for they shall be filled. And we're being filled now, through the Holy Spirit, from Yahushua, in the name of Yahushua. Verse 7. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. So we take the low, we be humble and meek, staying low the whole time, and the Most High will bless us the whole way. Verse 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua. So that word pure, the pure in heart. So the pure in heart, what's that heart? Your mind, the pure in your mind. So clean, pure, physically, purified by fire. And we know that spiritual fire is that walk we're going down. And it's similar to like a vine cleansed by pruning and so fitted to bear fruit. So Yahushua is that vine in John chapter 15, right? That vine tree, that olive tree. And what Yahushua say? You must abide in the vine, because you cannot do anything without the vine. If you abide not in the vine, you cannot do anything. And then it so bear fruit. So that vine fruit is the elect. And then the fruit that the elect bring forth, well, the teachers brings in that fruit as well. So when you drop down here to the bottom, it says right here, ethically free from corrupt desire. That's that old man, free from the old man, carnal thoughts, from sin and guilt, thinking evil things, wicked thoughts, of sin, doing evil things, free from every admixture of what is false, sincere, genuine. So what is everything that's false? Babylon the Great, so-called America, is everything false that they push. Falsehoods and Jewish fables. Blameless, innocent, unsustained, with the guilt of anything. So I mean, you letting you're delighting in the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and you have pure thoughts. The only thing that's pure in this earth is the words from the Most High, right? So going to Revelation 21, verse 4. And Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Why? Because the elect is crying. Spiritually and figuratively and literally, right? From their tears, from their eyes. And there shall be no more death. And death right now is chiefly being pushed by Esau Edom, the so-called white race, under Satan. And then Yahushua, he overcame that death. And now it won't be death anymore in the kingdom of heaven. Neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away, with that thermonuclear destruction and the deliverance of the elect. And then verse 7, he that overcometh shall inherit all things. That's that suffering and getting through it. They write a passage down that rocky road to the kingdom of heaven. And when you endure and overcome that rocky road, you will inherit all things. And I will be his power, and he shall be my son. So that's the greatest thing that a man can attain, is being a son of the Most High Power, Yahweh, through his only begotten son, Yahushua. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. I hope this video was edifying. The water to the Rachak Wadash for another video. Bahashem Yahushai. To the next video I say, Shalom.